changed my life more. Well, except maybe my husband. He's so proud of me, makes me cry.
Wow, that is awesome. Congratulations. And that could be you. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose weight, stop smoking, or end anxiety for only $49.99 guaranteed or your money back. Due to coronavirus, the seminar will now be online live Thursday, January 28th or Saturday, January 30th for the Fort Dodge area. Register now at markpatrickseminars.com.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
That AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. If you care to join the program, it's 515-955-1400, 955-1400. And I'm pleased to welcome to the studio once again the man who was inaugurated president of the United States just this morning, Joe Biden. No, you just look like him.
I don't even look like
you.
him.
Don't you?
He has fake hair. I just
really
don't.
Does.
I'm bald.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. We're talking with David Furick, the city manager, of course. You have a question or comment for the city manager, it's 955-1400. But Biden's one of those guys who had one of those, what are they called? Plugs. Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of tell.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You look back at a picture from the 80s and you can tell that there's a baldness setting in.
Yeah.
And then now he's got the nice hairline on top.
Well, that's kind of a wig, actually, I think.
Oh, is it?
Because
kind of a weave maybe in there?
Something. Yeah, a weave or something, because he's bald. I don't get,
Yeah.
He had the plug thing going on, but what they didn't tell guys back then was that your hair would continue to fall out. So there's a lot of guys running around with these plugs and nothing else,
I've seen some really bad plug jobs before.
Oh,
where
yeah.
It's like, oh, dude, if you knew what you were going to look like now, if you knew that back then, you wouldn't have paid all that money for that plug job.
No, absolutely not. Why would anybody? Well, it was $3,000 back then. Thank God I couldn't afford it. I would have probably done it because I only have about 12 more hairs than you do.
My decision was easy. At some point, my wife said, I think bald men are sexy.
Oh, well, there you go.
I was like, okay, then.
Boy, yeah.
This is a really easy decision.
You got lucky there because not many women think that, Well, did you shave your head for a while? You did, didn't you?
No, it's usually like this.
I
cut it myself. I usually do.
Oh,
this.
do you really?
Yeah, just take a pair of clippers and put on the number 1 guard and cut away.
I think when this patch in the front goes, that's what I'll do. Of course, I'm older now. I was worried in my 30s I was going bald because I already had a bald spot.
Yeah, I was starting one in the 30s.
Yeah, so I don't worry about that stuff anymore. Anyway, David Furick is here, and 955-1400 is the number if you'd like to call and ask David a question. And Greg Hora, by the way, and I should correct this, Greg will be here right after the news at 3:30 until 4:30. Then we'll try to have somebody from the supervisor. Anyway, there's my thing. So what's happening at the city there, David?
Well, we're still engaged in our budget preparation for fiscal year 21.
That's the big deal this time.
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of attention, a lot of time, and just for the folks who don't know on the radio, the state law is such that we actually have to have a budget approved with a tax levy by the end of March, even though our fiscal year doesn't start till July 1. So that's why it's kind of weird that we're so busy now working on budgets when the fiscal year doesn't even start till, like I said, the 1st of July. So we're actually trying to figure out how much money we need to spend 18 months from now. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the way things have been done.
Yeah. In Iowa.
Yeah. In Iowa. Do they do it? Your native state is Illinois.
Illinois. Not that I would use them as an example of any type of good government.
Well, you can't judge Illinois by Chicago.
But they, all cities have to do is pass a budget the day before their fiscal year begins. So you tend to get a lot better sort of historic budgetary details. So when you're going in and creating your budget, you can be a little closer with your estimates. But yeah, so that was a little easier in Illinois than here. That have to be done so early, but it's what we're in. And we did two departments this last Monday. We did airport, which was pretty exciting because we're getting the new regional jet service to Chicago. Right. So
that is cool.
And figuring out, from just a user standpoint, that's going to be super exciting. From a budgetary standpoint, there could be little changes there, and we're trying to iron those out, what it's going to be and how that's going to work. What the landing fees are going to be. Are we going to, is is the FBO going to sell more fuel because we get a little bit of that? There's all those little nuances that go on.
What does that acronym stand for?
Oh, fixed base operator. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Thanks for bringing. So yeah,
you and Plouts, I tell you, I got to teach you to speak English.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a king of acronyms. Maybe when I'm his age, that's all I'll talk is an acronym. But
yeah, that a shot. Maybe when I was old as Plouts, the oldest man in the world.
So at the airport, there's a private company which is the fixed base operator, and they basically provide the fuel and a lot of the services to the airlines, but not only airlines, but the other people that have planes there. That's typical in most airports. You'll have somebody that'll provide the services, fuel, and whatever not to the people that keep their planes at the airport. So, so it's creating a bit of anticipation and not 100% sure what our revenues are going to be there. And then obviously, COVID does have an impact on airline travel, and so that is an issue. We don't have a rental car company renting space from us anymore, so that would be nice to get back from a revenue standpoint. So we did that, and then we did Parks and Recreation, which it's a really tricky time to try to figure out Parks and Recreation. And again, it's COVID related, and what type of events are going to be able to happen,
right.
What kind of spectators, we, unlike most cities in Iowa, we opened our pool. We said the heck with it. We're going to open our pool.
Why was that decision made?
Because we wanted to have our pool open, because we thought it's a good thing for the public to be able to use.
It doesn't make a lot of money, does it?
No, a public asset, and it had a pretty bad year.
Yeah.
Because people wouldn't go, and
why is that? That's a nice little park down there.
I think so too. Again, it's and you remember that was a little bit early in the pandemic where people didn't know quite how the disease was going to be transferred. Not that we have it down pat now, we still don't know, but the thought of how much is being transferred by touch and how much is being transferred by through aerosol. And so it made things tricky and different. So we didn't have a really good year in that. And in trying to predict what's this year going to be is, again, are people going to come out like normal to do things at the pool? What did have a good year last year, interesting enough, was a golf course, because I think people transitioned to outdoor activities, and golf was one that was easy to social distance, and people felt more safe in an environment like that.
Well, sure, because you could social distance.
Yeah. So Lakeside did well.
But Lakeside's been profitable, hasn't it, or not?
Yeah, it's profitable. For years, it was always, and well, as soon as I say profitable, somebody's going to look in and say, "No, you're not telling the truth." So I always got a question that is, for now, the Lakeside, because there's several things done. Lakeside in of itself as an operations is not taking from the general fund. So I'm going to sound maybe, I don't know if schizophrenic's the right word. So it's profitable when you consider how it impacts the general fund, but we do pay for employee benefits out of an employee benefits levy. And so that comes from another tax source. So someone could argue that, well, it is not profitable, but I don't want to be a government person here trying to mislead you one way or the other. So
you're just not going to say anything.
I'm probably going to say too much and be confusing is what I'm going to be. But but it did well. Had a good year as far as a lot of play. And so we'll assume we're going to have another good year at Lakeside, but that's so weather dependent. I mean, you could have, and that's the other thing about Parks and Rec. You have a crappy June and your budgets can really be bad.
That has happened
in Parks and Rec. Yeah. And then you can have a really beautiful May and things can be good.
Yeah. Well, that is, gosh, that's really not good that really nice aquatic center we have. Was it forecast to make much of a profit, or was it more of a city convenience thing?
The aquatic center doesn't make a profit. Our advisors, I
mean,
when we did it, our advisors saying you can break even with this, and there are some folks that say no, it's not going to break even. Well, I think it can break even in ideal weather conditions. If you get 100 great days, and every Saturday and Sunday is great, because that's when you bring in a lot of revenue when people go to the pools on Saturday and Sundays, then I think it can be close to a break even deal. But I think it can break even or do a little bit good, but it's so weather dependent. And, like with the aquatic center, if you have if late May and early June are cool, people won't buy the passes. And then if they don't buy the passes by, mid to late June, they're not going to buy a pass for the year because they're not going to think about going. It's amazing how weather drives the impulse of people. Like, oh, it's hot, let's go swimming. Oh, let's go to the aquatic center. Oh, let's buy our pass. All that stuff kind of rolls into revenues for the city. And then, so selling passes is really beneficial. And then having warm weekends where people come out is
That's
good.
Always good to have, though.
Yeah, because a lot of the weekdays are filled with people with passes, so you don't do quite as well during the weekday as far as cash payers, because usually that's the pass holders that go out a lot more during the weekdays.
I wonder what could we do to stimulate attendance? Serve liquor? There we go.
Actually,
that would do it.
We actually proposed that years and years ago. Lori Branderhorst and I proposed.
Laura's married to Marlo. Marlo would head right out there.
Heavy sales, and it was going to be pretty restrictive. We were going to do, and it was only going to be for like an adult swim in the evening, like an 8 to 10 adult swim, and that we were going to out there. And we were going to, and it was going to be like a 2-drink maximum. Give out, you could buy tickets, but we're only going to sell like 2 per person, and so they could have 2 beers. And the council said they didn't want to do that.
Oh, we have another guest here. How are you? This is our new person.
A new person.
This is our city manager, David Frigg.
Hi.
Has there been an emergency or?
No. Was there a Greg?
Greg Hora, yes, and he'll be back at 3:30 to be on.
Can I leave this up here? So
you certainly can.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank
All right. See you later. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah.
When she gets a little more time under her belt, she'll realize it's not cool to walk into a studio with people around.
Live production.
Live production.
Hey, we're pretty chill here on the Divine Show.
We really are. That's something I hope we can continue and for many years. And I say that because I don't want to drop dead one of these anytime.
That's why you say for many years.
Yeah, many years. As long as I can remain alive. There we go. Anyway, that is interesting. What happened to that idea? You'd have to get a liquor license and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
State's got to get his hands in there.
Yeah.
Were you just going to serve beer or liquor?
Just beer.
Okay. What happened? Just too expensive? Or?
No, the council didn't want beer sold.
What a bunch of virgins and fun haters over there at the council.
No, this is
got Halter over there.
Okay.
He's got to be pro beer.
All right. Well, this isn't this council. This was like a 10-year-old council. 10-year-olds 10 years ago.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So,
and I'm not saying
I'm not saying negative about that group, but it's just a policy decision they made not to sell beer at the aquatic center.
I was here then. I'm surprised that got by me. A bunch of fun haters. That's fun haters. There's no doubt. Well, that's too bad. Do other places in Iowa have an adult night with beer offered, or?
I don't know, and I can't remember. It's been so long. Did we do some surveying to find out whether other people did that or not? I could tell you just from personal experience that in Burlington, the city pool is actually part of the casino.
Oh, is that right?
and there was a partnership years ago. They built their pool before ours, and they had a partnership where the city put in some money. I don't know if it was just for like the lap lane portion of it, but I think then you got in at a discounted rate if you had some. I can't remember how that all worked, but because it was at a casino, there was a bar open. It was kind of nice.
Well, that was great. Great.
It's like I'm at a city pool with a bar. But
I didn't know they had a casino in Burlington.
Yeah.
Everybody has a casino except Fort Dodge. Yes. Thank you, Emmitsburg, for hosing us.
Yeah.
You that was because the reason we were rejected the second time, that was quite a deal. That really was. That was a little sneaky. So we had Jeff, what's his name, from the Casey's. Jeff, what the heck was his name? He's a member of the family that owns Casey's. But anyway, he was a state representative at that time, and I think he was a member of the Racing and Gaming Commission.
Oh.
And I had him on the air like a week or 10 days before that. Absolutely not. Jefferson's not getting a casino. We're casinoed out, too many casinos. 5 days later, he went silent. Nobody could find him. And sure enough, when the day came to vote on the Fort Dodge committee, he voted it down and left without saying anything. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was
Casey's guy.
That was really peculiar decision. It's hard.
Not really. It was very disappointing.
Can't follow the logic on that one.
What that
How it was defeated.
Really?
I know. I'm kind of being non-committal.
Being non-committal. I think money talks and BS walks.
Mhm.
That's what I think. Poor Steve Daniel.
Especially in gaming, right?
It really does. Poor Steve Daniel. They pulled him through a knot.
No, I know.
Anyway, David Fierk, city manager, is our guest. If you want to ask the city manager a question like, why the hell is my street plowed or whatever, 515-955-1400. Really, the city streets are very clean. I mean, and your street crew, once again, has done an outstanding job, I think.
Yeah, they did, I think, a great job. It was a bizarre storm on Friday in that, I think we got less than what was projected, but the winds were high and it was pretty wet snow. And so it created some packing that typically you wouldn't see from that kind of snow. So I know some of our streets and side streets are still have a little bit of a pack on them. Hopefully not much, but they worked pretty much all night long. The heavy stuff really didn't come down till midnight, and it stuck around. And Friday it was still snowing a bit till mid-morning.
Sure. All right. Yeah, that again, a good job by the street crews, definitely. And get your cars off the street. It would make life so much better for all of us.
It is so helpful if the car is not on the street.
Yeah, it is,
and it benefits everybody in that you don't have to try to dig your car out afterwards.
Exactly.
And the one thing is, we don't enforce parking violations during a snowstorm. So if you park across the sidewalk, we're not going to give you a ticket. I'm not advocating parking on the grass because you can wreck the grass, but we're not going to go out and give tickets for parking. We just want the cars off the street during that time period. Right. So there are some streets that plows can't go down if people are parked on both sides. And so, we have the option of marking one side no parking, but other than snow removal, it's probably not the worst thing in the world that people are parking on both sides of the street. So it's just a matter of people being mindful that, hey, it's going to snow. Let me get my car off the street. Or if I don't have any way to get it off, let me make sure they're all on one side, or try to get all the cars on one side of the street.
I was very surprised to find out that 2nd Avenue North was on the list of streets that you could not leave your car out on or it would be towed. But I came out of the apartment complex over here and my car was gone about 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
It got towed.
Yeah, it's a snow route.
Yeah, it is. That's the words I was trying to find.
Yeah. Which
I
means
didn't know
they have
2nd Avenue North was a snow route.
And snow routes are main routes throughout town that we will tow cars that are parked after a snow emergency is declared. And a snow emergency is declared once we hit 2 inches of snow on the ground. And
really?
And the goal is with snow routes is to keep them open and passable at all times so that
emergency
vehicles can get as close as possible to anything before they have to try to plow through the side streets to get to the house or something like that. To create that network.
I'm not saying that the guys were wrong to tow my car. It was just, you walk out of your house, I was doing morning radio and then it was about 4:30 in the morning. Where's my car?
Yeah, that's not good. And we're keep trying to make improvements on how to notify people. I mean, if you follow us on Facebook, you can follow the notifications, and then you'll get a notification that, hey, Fort Dodge is in a snow emergency. And we're continuing to improve and try to roll out new methods of communicating with people on things like that.
Sure. Yeah. One last question for David Fierk here before Greg Hora comes on, or the news first. When we talked about the budget process, who really determines the budget? You don't let the council people in on that, do you?
Yes.
Oh, they're in there.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's.
I thought it was just you and the department heads.
Yeah. No, it's actually just Jeff Nemmers sitting behind the screen.
Yeah, he could probably do it by himself.
Oh yeah. He could. I mean, we couldn't do it without him. That's for sure. But no. So the process is that department heads submit their requests, and then we put that all into different, in the different departmental budgets. We present them to council on a department by department budget. The budget's too big to hit them with it all at one time. And So we break it up in the departments, and each department will present their budgets and their philosophies to the council. Now, again, we don't go line by line. I mean, that would be kind of a lot of work for a city our size and a budget our size. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then ultimately it becomes a council's decision, and we present to them a balanced budget and how we get there. And sometimes there's some tough decisions on how we get there, and sometimes it'll fall at their level, saying here's how we have to do this. Are you supportive of it, or do you want us to find another way?
Mm-hmm.
And we've had those discussions. Fortunately, the years have been pretty good lately. Now this year's a little tough because our property value did not go up as much as it has in prior years, and that really leads directly to revenues through property taxes. So we may be making some tough decisions on how to get this one balanced. And then the other key thing the council does determine is what our tax levy is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And each year we kind of explain what are the, because there's like 8 or 10 different components of what is the city's tax levy, and how do we, how does that play into the overall picture? And, I would say a council member to the person, they're not excited about having to increase it or whatever. Everybody would like to have a decreased tax levy.
Right.
And I think that's pretty much unanimous, but they also get that there are certain priorities that need to be accomplished. And there are certain things in our tax levy that are somewhat out of our control.
Mm-hmm.
Not totally, but I mean, unless you're going to make huge cuts, you can't really manage. You can't really do certain things. So ultimately it becomes their decision, and then they'll approve it, and we'll have a couple public hearings, and then we submit it, and that's our budget.
All right. What's the most expensive item on the budget?
Like single item?
Single department, police, fire, whatever.
Police is the largest single budget. I would say it's over $3 million.
Yeah.
And especially
That's
in the general fund. Fire's next, and they are over $2 million, and then Parks and Recreation is about $1.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I guess if you take that back, if you consider our water utility is about a $10 million utility as far as revenues and expenditures in any given year. And sewer is about the same thing, maybe a little more.
But water and sewer pay for themselves.
That's all paid for revenues from the water and sewer. But if you're talking about the things that are taxpayers, what they pay the most for, the department they pay the most for is police.
Well, we got to have police. We got to have fire.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. Those are the traditional community services that you pay, and you pay for them with property taxes.
Yeah. Well, if anybody complains about our police department or fire department, they're on their head as far as I'm concerned. But there's a few crazy people.
Well, thanks for saying that, Mike.
Really, what? You didn't oppose the budget for the police or fire department, did you?
I don't oppose their budget.
I thought maybe I missed something there. David Farrick has been our guest. Thank you as always, David.
You're welcome, Mike.
Okay, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
It's 3:33, and the news is next. Greg Hora after the news.
Upgrade to the wiper blades trusted by Rainer Zietlow to break world records. Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance that lasts 2 times longer than other blades. The new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are only available at Walmart.
There's only one original stuffed crust, and it's only from Pizza Hut. The only place that gives you up to 3 toppings on your original stuffed crust for just $11.99. Order yours online at pizzahut.com. Ask or click for limited time offer. Extra charge for more toppings and extra cheese. Exclusions apply.
When you were a teenager, your garage was the beginning of your